Do you want a cheese bone?
I'd love one. I can't believe I'm reaching in there right now.
I'm not a groomer. I'm just a loser.
Alright people, what's up? Colleen Ballinger is back with another apology, and it's terrible. Now audience, if you have absolutely no idea who Miranda Sings or Colleen Ballinger is, I honestly congratulate you. Colleen Ballinger, aka Miranda Sings, was exposed for grooming multiple kids, asking little children for very inappropriate images, sending them lingerie in the mail, even letting little James here stick his fucking hand down her pants just to eat a cheese ball. The shit that this lady has said and done is absolutely inexcusable. Anyways, after her very successful run on YouTube, she eventually started having her behavior get analyzed more closely, and people realized that over the years that wow, this lady is actually a fucking weirdo. And in return, a couple years ago, Colleen Ballinger made an apology video which went down in history as the worst apology video on YouTube. Her apology was very poorly accepted. Absolutely nobody liked it. Comments, articles, and the like to dislike ratio fucked her up greatly. And now, right before 2025 is coming to a close, she decided to hop on a podcast in hopes to apologize this time in a more serious manner and try to clear the air. Spoiler alert, she fucking did it. Tea Time with Raven and Miranda posted the video called Exclusive. Colleen Ballinger tells her side. I think you can tell by the like to dislike ratio on this video that it did not do very well. Let's begin.
Today, we're sitting down with Colleen Ballinger, actress, comedian, and YouTuber best known for her character Miranda Sings.
If you were anywhere online in 2023, you probably saw Colleen's name trending. It's because she was accused of crossing personal boundaries with fans, some of whom were minors.
Okay, so I love how this lady brings up the fact that they were personal boundaries. This shit is not just personal boundaries, it's just boundaries that everybody should fucking know about. I'm gonna read you guys some chats between Colleen Ballinger and her fans that were all underage in a group chat called Colleenie's fucking Weenies. Brace yourself, this is gonna get nasty. Colleen says, tell me all the thoughts you had when you first got your periods, please and thank you. Mind you, this is a grown-ass woman talking to a bunch of little-ass kids. Why are you asking them about their fucking periods? That is crazy. Example, I thought I shit myself because the blood was so dark in my underwear. Guys, what the Another screenshot says, my ass looks so good today, y'all. Colleen is asking for ass pics. Seriously, guys, what the fuck do you do with that information? Oh, it gets even better. The group chat is saying it means Josh has a small pinky. Colleen says Eric is ripped. Why are these conversations happening inside of Colleen Ballinger's group chat? She didn't say that this was inappropriate in the group chat, didn't tell anybody to stop this behavior. But no, let's fucking encourage it by saying that a little kid in your group chat is fucking ripped. Also, the name of this fucking group chat says Winter Cock Blockers. Does that sound like a normal group chat name that you need to have with a bunch of children when you're the only adult? I don't fucking think so. Tell me what move I should make on ball cocker cock blocker stock dick. Do I even need to explain to you how that's disgusting? And finally, audience, everyone thinks I love dildos because of that video. What the fuck is that video you're talking about? I sincerely want to know. That ain't the only sex toy in the world, Henny. Nice, dude. Let's talk about a bunch of fucking sex toys with a bunch of children in a group chat. And you're gonna tell me there was absolutely no nuance in your brain that this was a bad idea? Give me a fucking break. Anyways, I just wanted to share that with you guys before we continue this podcast, just so that you have your memory jogged a little bit of what exactly they're talking about.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, there is a very big elephant in the room.
Yeah.
And
you can really just see how uncomfortable that made Colleen, bro. That side eye really tells me one hell of a story. Only 5 minutes into this podcast, she's like, oh, this is gonna be a long episode, huh? Talk about a guilty conscience.
I think that we just have to address it.
Sure.
Immediately.
Why Miranda?
I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was thinking about that. I was like, how do we address this?
Okay, so if you didn't catch what they're trying to say, they're making a joke about Miranda Sings and the podcast host that's named Miranda. Yeah, dude, let's just make jokes about a bunch of grooming victims of this lady. Let's just make it funny. Ha ha ha. F off, genuinely.
The difference between me and a mainstream celebrity, at least in the beginning, was that I was attainable and look, she'll talk to us. She'll interact with us. And she's talking to us from her living room. She'll talk about anything. We know her, you know, and I didn't think about when I was interacting with my fans, I didn't think about a power dynamic that could have been there. I didn't think about a parasocial relationship, and I should have been more responsible in thinking about that, but I didn't even think of myself that way. I was like, yeah, we are friends. Like, I think I felt the same way. And so for me, I was like, well, I'm just talking to my friends. I talk to all of them like they're my friends, my sisters, all the fans. And I definitely should have been more careful with the way I was joking with them and the things I was saying to them.
Do you feel like not having a team earlier in your career hindered you from making better decisions?
I definitely wish I had someone to give me advice. I was with that group of like the first YouTubers that kind of like rose to any sort of stardom or fame, in the beginning. So it's not like there were people before me doing this that I could look to and ask questions about. This was a new thing.
Wow, so this clip was an absolute mouthful. So anyways, remember all of those text conversations that we were just talking about a second ago? She is confirming right here that she had absolutely no idea how bad that these conversations were with children. And what does she blame it on, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that YouTube fame at the time was a new thing. Oh yeah, dude, this is just a YouTube thing. This whole thing about getting famous on the internet, it was all new. I didn't know that getting famous on fucking YouTube meant that I couldn't talk to children sexually. Is that really the route that you want to set your sails on, Colleen? What in the actual fuck is wrong with you?
I posted the video. It was shortly after I posted it, I was talking to someone on the phone.
Just for reference, audience, she's referring to the Hi video where she apologized with that stupid ukulele.
For my team. And I was like, oh, that was a huge mistake. That was really stupid. It was like there was so much, I have to say something. And finally I let it out.
What does regret feel like?
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. Because because you want to fix it. You can't fix it. I wanted to fix it so bad. And there was no fixing it. There was nothing I could do to fix it. That was so awful. Because not only did I not address anything that I wanted to address, not only did I not, dispute the lies that I wanted to dispute, and I just made things worse. It was so bad.
Well, at least now Colleen is a little bit self-aware of the fuck up that she did when she posted that ukulele video. You could have done 10,000 different response videos, but you decided to still make it a fucking live performance comedy video. You were being accused of being a PDF file, a fucking groomer. And after reflecting on all the possible outcomes that you can do, you looked at a fucking ukulele and thought that was your escape. You should have listened to your PR team, honey. You really fucking should have.
There were moments in your live shows where there were children brought up on stage and you were, as showbiz says, going for the funny in a lot of moments. However, looking back at moments, there is another person on the internet who is saying that when she went up on stage for your live show, she was a part of the yoga challenge section of your show. And it made them feel gross. Later in life, they were essayed, and when they look back at that moment with you, they feel similar feelings. Can you dive a little bit deeper into what happened at the yoga challenge?
It was a challenge on YouTube for a while for people to try out different yoga poses. Like couples would do it together, because if you're not experienced in yoga, it's difficult to do. And so since I'm a YouTuber on my live shows, sometimes I would do challenges from YouTube. So I did that challenge, and I'd have people come up on stage and we would try out different yoga poses that popped up on the screen. And obviously we could never do them, and I would be, flailing about as Miranda. And there was one pose where there are two people and both legs are spread open. You're holding each other's legs. And I genuinely never thought of it as a sexual or inappropriate thing. To me, the joke was that when the legs were open to do the pose, the fart sound effect came on screen. So it was like, once the legs opened up, there was a fart sound. And to me, that was all I thought that joke was.
I'm not exactly sure if Colleen recognizes the fact that no matter what she does to explain this situation, it's not gonna get excused. Yes, I get it, the fucking yoga challenge was a thing on YouTube. A lot of people did it. But is it really that difficult for this lady to just say that, yeah, the yoga challenge may not have been the most appropriate thing to do at my live shows? If I were to ever have a spot at, let's say, VidCon, and I hosted a fucking yoga challenge with you guys, as a man, I believe I would probably be in jail that same day. Especially certain things like, oh, I don't know, spreading your fucking legs at a Miranda Sings event. But hey, it's just a harmless fart joke, ladies and gentlemen. It's okay. Also, I find it very fucking interesting that she says that it was just a joke that was taken the wrong way, when literally a couple minutes later, her chemically imbalanced brain says this.
And a lot of the comedy that I did with Miranda, when my audience shifted, I was like, okay, how do I keep this audience that liked this crass humor and now appealed to this younger audience that now is growing so much? And my solution to that was I will still do these more crass innuendo type jokes, and it'll go over the kids' heads, and then the parents will have something to laugh at and the adults will have something to laugh at that are in the audience. And that was my solution to that.
Yeah, two very different narratives are being pitched here. So what is it, Colleen? Was it just a joke that everybody took the wrong way, or was it something that everybody loved and you just had to keep doing it? Or maybe you could have done the third option and took the responsibility in your own hands as an adult and simply not have done those kinds of things. I swear that a large majority of this video is her just shifting the blame to everybody but herself. Oh, it wasn't my fault. It was the parents' fault. It was the audience's fault. It was the fucking yoga challenge's fault. Zero accountability, 100% bullshit.
There's been many a comedian, many a entertainer that has done things in their early career that when they look back on, they wish they didn't. Because culture changes.
Okay, lady, I don't know what the fuck you're cooking up, but sure, culture changes, but the mentality of PDF files will never change. Yeah, they were fucking laughing at the event, but whenever you really strip away the legend and really see through what's going on here, a grown woman that is placed in a position of a lot of influence is making children pressured to spread their legs on a live stage in front of a ton of people. It's not like critical thinking was invented just a couple days ago. You can't just say that, oh, society was just perfectly fine with little girls spreading their legs on a fucking stage for everybody to see. Yeah, culture fucking changed. Yeah, right.
People were laughing with you and quote unquote at you because of the character. It must feel so like two-faced for you, for all these people who were laughing with you, and then all of a sudden
Have them turn
against you.
Yes, it's painful to see people who supported me and laughed with me and all this stuff suddenly turn and change their mind about it. But I don't blame anyone but me for, I completely blame myself, especially because I know that people do make mistakes and people can learn and grow and change. And one of my biggest mistakes was not listening and addressing things and taking responsibility.
And playing the ukulele.
Yeah, I'm playing that damn ukulele.
So I just don't want you to forget that.
I will never
can't
trust
forget it.
me.
Did you guys hear that? I think Colleen Ballinger actually decided to take a little bit of accountability. If you guys picked up what the podcast host said, she was trying to paint the picture like everybody was two-faced to Colleen Ballinger. And I guess the narrative that the podcast host was trying to pitch here was to make Colleen agree with her that, yeah, people are two-faced, they are pieces of shit. But no, Colleen dodged a bullet and said that she entirely immediately blames herself. Now, granted, she's far beyond a redemption arc by any means, ladies and gentlemen, but it is pretty nice to see at least a little bit of accountability finally being taken. It only had to take half an hour of this podcast episode.
Now, this is a live show. My apologies for never going and seeing the
It's all
entire
good.
thing.
No
but
worries.
if you could explain why there is a clip of YouTube of a little boy eating Cheetos out of your pants, could you explain that for the audience, please?
Pulling Cheetos. That makes it sound more egregious. Like he's physically eating out of her pants. He wasn't. He was taking one.
Oh, he was taking a... See? That's how things get twisted.
Right. Yeah.
So could
Yeah.
you explain it, please?
For context, ladies and gentlemen, this little boy named James was eating Cheetos out of Colleen's pants. Let's roll the clip one more time so that it's fresh in our memories.
Do you want a cheese ball? I'd love one. I can't believe I'm reaching in there right now.
Yeah, absolutely disgusting. Even James was like, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. Yeah, and I honestly can't believe it either. Anyways, let's see what Colleen has to say about this situation.
A lot of the joke with Miranda was that I would say and do things that were inappropriate or had some sort of sexual innuendo to them or something like that. And it went over the character's head. Like Miranda was not aware that she was saying something that could be taken the wrong way. That was a lot of the jokes that I did as the character. And so in that particular part of the show that I did, it was probably 8 to 10 years ago that I used to do that bit. Miranda was teaching the audience how to sneak food into the movie theater. And so I stuffed a big bag of cheese balls in my pants. Now, I was wearing layers of clothing because throughout the show, I put more clothes on over my clothes on stage. When I transitioned from me into Miranda, I, in front of everyone, put on more clothes. So I'm wearing lots of layers of clothing, and then there's the cheese balls in a bag and in my pants. And so initially, I would bring up an adult, and I'd start eating the snack as we're, quote unquote, watching this movie. And then I'd say, do you want a snack? And then they would take a cheese ball from the top of the bag and eat it. It was supposed to be like she doesn't realize how inappropriate this looks. And then, you know, there's a clip, like you said, of when a younger person came on stage and did that with me. And the audience is laughing because, and you could see my reaction, like, this is a weird situation that I'm in here. But it got a big laugh, and everyone knew that it wasn't Jess. And this is me trying to, you know, rationalize, that's the word, yes, rationalize the situation. But shortly after, like, I mean, I'd say within a year of doing that joke, I cut it because I was like, I think this
Within a year of doing that joke, you what?
cut it, like I stopped doing it.
Okay.
Because it was, I mean, my fans were, a lot of them were younger at this point, so I was like, you know, obviously this joke is not, I'm not gonna do this anymore. It's not working, it's not appropriate. And so I cut that. I regret doing that. I should have never brought kids up on stage, even though the joke was that Miranda doesn't know that this is inappropriate and the audience is like, it doesn't matter. I should have been like, if I'm going to do this joke, it's in my adult show that I'm doing with adults that are consenting and know that this is the joke, that Miranda doesn't understand that this could look bad.
Yeah, if you have to rationalize a little child eating Cheetos out of your pants, I think you should probably go with your other rationality that it's bad. And also, what in the actual fuck is that explanation you gave? I only did it because it looked bad. I only did it with these little kids because it looked very inappropriate. Essentially, ladies and gentlemen, she did these inappropriate things with children because she knew it was inappropriate with children. You are trying to clear the air and clear your name, but you're also self-reporting yourself at the same fucking time. You are shooting yourself in the foot second by second, Colleen. Please stop. Listen, Colleen, I was perfectly fine with the idea of never hearing your ass ever again, even after you dropped that dog shit apology. But if you really had to come back and the first thing you have to say is shit like this, is it really worth coming back and dishing out the same bullshit that you were saying years ago as a defense? Because it's pretty fucking bad that after a few years you still come back with the same excuses every time. You should have never done the ukulele video. You should have done a completely different apology video. And you never should have sat in this seat here today and talked into that microphone. You are only digging yourself a deeper hole.
So you have admitted to sending lingerie to an underage fan. And I know you've talked about this before, but I would like to ask you one more time to address this and kind of what happened and how you're feeling about it now.
Yeah, what an idiot. is how I feel about it now. I think it was like 10 years ago, something like that. I was doing a live stream, and I always loved giving away gifts to my fans online. So I would send them like a bobby pin of Miranda's or a lipstick of Miranda, an old shirt, usually it was to encourage them to donate to a charity event that I would do every year. So I was doing a live stream like I did pretty often, and I was opening up a box of clothes that I had bought, and in it was this underwear bra set that I didn't order, and it was we were all laughing about it. So everyone in the chat was laughing about it, me and my friend, and there are people in the comments saying, "Oh, send that to me, send that one to me," and we were like, "We're not going to do that. That's crazy." But then there was one fan in particular who kept asking us to send it, and I was like, obviously you can tell in the live, like I'm like hesitant about it because there is a little bit of brains in there somewhere that was like maybe not. Because I hesitated, but then I was like, and I didn't send it. I didn't. But then it was just became an inside joke with the fandom, and everyone was like telling me to send it, and he kept asking for it. It was like months of this, and so finally I did, and it was very public and as a joke, and it was like a part of my brain was missing in action of like, hey, this is not a good idea. This looks bad. It wasn't a pair of my something that I sent to a young fan in a inappropriate way, but it was inappropriate. Like, why would what part of me thought like, everyone will know this is a silly joke in the fandom? Like I wish I'd never done that. That was so inappropriate. And if he was made to feel uncomfortable because of that, like I feel terrible and I'm so sorry because that was not my intention with that. I thought it was like a silly inside joke with the whole fandom. It was all very public and I thought it was a silly thing and it was so stupid.
All right, so while I appreciate Colleen for being a little bit honest here and egging towards the idea that, yeah, a lot of this shit is my fault, I noticed that eventually every single comeback that she has for every single allegation, every single thing that she's been accused of, she's doing this fucking Mickey Mouse Clubhouse goofy shit where she's like, gosh, my brain was gone. Yup, I sure fucked up in that case. It's like, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but it's like, can you really dish something out more than just, oops, I'm such a klutz? Because I just find it very hard to believe that you were just missing a bit of your brain as you were doing this. Because even me, and I was even younger than Colleen when she was doing this shit, I understand that sending a 13-year-old boy fucking lingerie is a bad idea. Not exactly something you can just excuse away by saying, oops, yep, that was stupid. Oh, I regret that one. So fucking disingenuous.
Something else, Colleen, that has come up and been discussed is the fact that you would participate in group chats with your fans, and there were minors in those chats, and there would be questions regarding their virginity and sex positions.
Right.
Inappropriate questions are being asked to underage people. What was going on?
That's true. It's completely inappropriate. And I used to do this weekly question and answer thing with my audience. And that particular group chat was full of a bunch of different fans of all ages, but they were crass and funny and ridiculous. And they would, whenever I asked for questions for my channel, they would ask me questions like that. They would ask me questions they knew I wouldn't answer that were over the top, inappropriate. So when one of them, which this part of the conversation's now deleted, those parts of the conversations are deleted or gone or somehow, I don't know. But when they asked for questions for theirs, I was trying to do the same jokes that they had just previously been doing with me. Stupid and inappropriate. Shouldn't have done it. I feel really embarrassed and stupid. And
Did you know they were underage at the time?
I knew that there were teenagers in the chat. Yeah, I did know that. And I also thought, well, they all know I'm not serious. I don't want the answers to these questions. They all know that I'm just joking around like they do this to me, and they know I'm not going to answer the questions. I know they don't want the answers. Like I thought like this was, it was clear between all of us that like I was joking. I didn't actually want this information from this person. I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny to ask a really absurd, crazy question. And there were a bunch of questions I asked. Those were just a few of the awful ones that I did. And I should have never done that. That was crazy of me.
Wow, that has probably got to be one of the worst responses I've seen so far. For example, the screenshot where she's talking about her fucking periods and asking the other underage girls how their periods are. She asked the question, they responded, and now she's elaborating and adding to the conversation. You are not just trying to do this for the funny haha, you are actually engaging with these conversations. This is bullshit and you're a fucking weirdo.
It wasn't in a grooming fashion.
Absolutely not.
Yes, it absolutely the fuck was. You were complete strangers with these fucking children before you added them into the group chat. So how the fuck do they go from being a stranger to you to them answering very personal questions like their fucking periods? You built multiple relationships with a bunch of minors for them to get attached to you, and you're asking them very disgusting questions. Ooh, my ass looks good today. Do you have a picture of that? Says Colleen. Guys, did you feel like you shit yourself on your first period? Because I sure did. And guess what? They're all replying to you. You groomed them. You're a fucking groomer.
It was in a stupid fashion. It was like I shouldn't.
For the
like,
laugh?
For the laugh.
For the record, Colleen, being stupid and a groomer are two things that can coexist with one another. And yes, you just so happen to be both.
I thought it would make them laugh. I thought they'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. Ha ha ha. Like how they did with me often. They were very funny. That group chat of all these different guys, they were very funny, very dedicated, wonderful people.
So you were being one of the kids.
Yeah, right.
And you had forgotten.
Yeah,
so
right.
You were acting more like one of your kid viewers versus remembering that you were actually the adult in the chat.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And that lends itself to the power dynamic that you had referenced earlier, where you kind of had lost the awareness of that relationship or dynamic.
Sorry, I'm just not fucking buying it. If you're an adult, you should know that you should talk to children a certain way versus an adult. This isn't even about a YouTube thing. This is just an adulting thing, understanding that children look at things differently than you. I am not buying what she's saying in the slightest.
I was so caught up in the things that weren't true, and well, they're missing the context of this, and well, and that was taken out of context there, and this was deleted from this, and I wanted to explain everything and prove that I wasn't this horrible person, this monster, but like in my response, I kind of proved I was kind of like
dismissive.
Yeah, I was dismissive. And so, I've learned to take a beat and try to hear what people are actually saying. Because yes, there's going to be all the noise. And even when you're just having a little tiff with your partner, they're going to say they're mad about things they're not really. And it's important to try to like sift through the crazy and get to like, what's the root here? Why is this person hurt?
Yeah.
And how can I help them to feel better? And how can I explain this in the right way to help them feel safe and okay when they're not feeling good?
Well, that mindset definitely comes with maturity. Mm-hmm. That's something that we all have to learn. That's something that people aren't born with. That comes from trial and error. That comes from trauma. And that comes from a situation like what you have been through.
Dude, why are we all describing this shit like they were having an edgy middle school phase? Colleen was already matured. She already knew full and well what she was doing. You can't just blame this shit like she was just some middle schooler that made some mistakes. Colleen Ballinger is currently 38 years old. 10 years ago, she was 27/28. How the fuck do people that are 16 and 17 understand this shit whenever she don't? Clearly, there's a fucking problem.
I'd be curious to know your thoughts on what you think your spirit is here to learn.
What the fuck are we talking about? Are we about to start talking about motherfucking crystals and shit? I think I'm good for today. Audience, subscribe to the channel if you would like a follow-up of this situation. With that being said, I'll catch you guys later.